Well. At last back to the real trial. Ready here, forehead? I hope I didn't just miss my only chance. Fraulein Detective, how far had we gotten until we were so rudely interrupted?
Don't ask me. I've been eating snacks and I don't pay attention. I really want to leave.
I just like saying the same thing twice, but well, here I go. And I never repeat a song for an encore. If you would, Miss Guy.
I believe I was saying that the only way Mr. Latouche's killer could have escaped was through that air vent on the ceiling.
Ah, yes, there was only one door in the room, and the witness, you, was standing in front of it.
That air vent isn't very big, see? Kinda limits the people who could possibly get through.
I certainly would have a difficult time. My fingers would be caught on all the vent pieces.
You sure would. Not that you would have been there in the first place, though, Your Honor. Remember, the whole backstage area was off limits to people not involved with the concert. The only one who meets the conditions for our killer is the defendant.
A virtuoso performance. I couldn't have put it better myself, and I certainly wasn't going to.
She does state a clear case. Though reading the report, something caught my eye.
Oh, what's that, Your Honor? You read something? That's wonderful. Tell us all about it. Write us a book report.
The circumstances of the defendant's arrest.
The circumstances? Again?
Hey, that's right, Apollo. Remember when we found Machi? That was bizarre.
She's right. Why did Mr. Latouche's body disappear from the room and end up on top of that stage tower? Holding a guitar, no less. A perceptive observation, Herr Judge.
Oh, thank you. It was kind of an accident, really. I didn't mean to read it. But you work in this job long enough. You get a nose for things. Sometimes you accidentally leave a page open and you just read that one sentence and you're like, oh, that's weird.
The judge sure seems pleased with himself.
Very good, Fraulein Detective. Perhaps you can tie it all together for us in a nice little bow. Why was the body moved? And how does that lead us to the killer?
I believe Machi stole the body because of some lyrics. He moved the body to match Lamiroir's song. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim, and Machi practically left his signature at the scene. All of this evidence clearly points to the defendant.
But it points a little too clearly. Right? Lamiroir's song? Yeah, the guitar serenade. You noticed it's code too, did you not? It's code. All the events that day followed the lyrics to our song. Sugar, sugar. First the keys my heart held onto so tightly were stolen. Then Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flames on stage. Mr. Latouche's life was taken by a bullet. The rest hardly needs explanation, so we won't go into it. Guitar, up together to the sky.
That's mad. It's like a story out of some fairy tale. Oh, I love it. Tell it again. Can we see the testimony again?
I admit I'd forgotten about the song. But there it is now, waiting for me. The grand finale, as it were.
Hey, you know, I was the one who first noticed that, so I'm cool too, right?
I've heard of jumping rope to songs and counting to songs, but never singing songs. But never killing, but killing to songs.
It's a wild world out there, Herr Judge.
Very well. We've heard one song and dance. Let's get on to the next. The cross-examination.
Oh, was Apollo reading the lyrics? Oh well. I like Clavier explaining it better. I'm not so sure I'm going to be doing much singing. I'm more of a yeller. The missing body. All right, Emma.
I believe Machi stole the body because of some lyrics.
Who would steal a body just to match some lyrics?
I didn't believe it myself, but it can't just be a coincidence.
It is as Fraulein Detective says. Let us begin with the first verse, if you would, Fraulein Detective.
What? You want me to sing it? I'm not gonna do that.
You are the witness, yeah? Or did you want me to sing? I warn you, my fee as a vocalist is not trivial.
Fine. Let's look at the first part of the lyrics, shall we? When you stole away the keys that my heart held on to so tight.
Indeed, my favorite heart-shaped keyring was stolen that morning.
Next, we go to the right page of the lyric sheet, where we find burning on in my heart fire, burn my love away, all away. As we know, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. Like a bullet of love fire, take my life away, all away. Mr. Latouche's life was taken by a bullet.
Bravo, Fraulein Detective, you're singing. It's not bad. Now for the finale.
Guitar, up together to the sky.
As it says in the lyrics, Monsieur Latouche was found with a guitar high in the sky over the stage. Guitar, there we go. No series of coincidences could be so well conceived.
He's right, scientifically speaking.
What would Walkie have said? That concert was whack! Wiggity whack! It's hard to argue when she pours her heart into it like that.
Anyway, the shooter... He moved the body to match Lamiroir's song.
Does the prosecution have any idea why he'd do any of this?
You want my scientific opinion? No clue. But he clearly had a reason to go through all that trouble. Some deep reason.
A deep reason. Not only did he steal my keys, he torched my guitar. Unforgivable acts, even if he had a reason, and worse if he had none.
The diva's complaints aside, I can't imagine someone doing this on just a whim.
Fraulein Detective, I take... Oh.
Indeed, it does seem too well rehearsed, shall we say?
Yes, this crime was planned for sure. No one in this country had a motive to kill the victim.
No one in this country? A little specific. But Mr. Latouche spoke English. He may have come to this country before.
I looked into that, and I assure you.
Oh.
It was his first time in the country, it seems. Apparently he learned English on his own.
Great.
Yeah, Rosetta Stone. Pretty good.
You see? No one here had a motive to kill him, and certainly not in such an elaborate fashion.
It does seem difficult to imagine.
Unless our famous prosecutor did it as a publicity stunt.
What did you say? I would never. Prosecutor Gavin, you did this to promote your song?
They're your lyrics after all, man. They only made the music. Of course not. And I'm quite dismayed by the ludicrous nature of her claim. Why would I need promotion? Everyone already listens to my music, yeah? They're even in my textbook at school, somehow. But you get brand new textbooks? He hasn't even been around that long. And I'd never heard of them, but what does that say about me?
I was just kidding. Don't get all worked up, Glimmer Boy. And Machi practically left his signature at the scene.
His signature of shooting someone and putting a guitar on them? That's how I sign all my checks. Bang, bang, bong. What do you mean by his signature?
The bullet holes in the wall, of course.
The bullet holes?
The revolver was fired twice. One shot missed and left a hole in the wall.
And that means what exactly?
That dressing room isn't exactly spacious. Picture the shooter facing off with the victim in there. They can't have been more than 5 feet apart. It would be difficult, almost impossible to miss at that range.
Difficult to miss, you say?
Very. Assuming the shooter could properly aim.
No, you can't be serious.
Machi, he can't see. That's why he missed? It's the only explanation that makes sense. He used sound and other senses to fire the gun. Poorly.
That reminds me, the monitor in that room was blaring at the time, yeah? Hardly ideal conditions for tracking by sound.
A blind shooter. No wonder he missed.
I knew those bullet holes would come back to haunt me. Think, Justice. What do I do now? Raise an objection? Sure, there were bullet holes left in the wall. But that doesn't prove the shooter couldn't see. Oh, how so? Well, there could have been a struggle with the victim.
That's certainly possible.
And it might have been the revolver's fault.
The revolver?
The revolver was a very large caliber, correct?
If the shooter wasn't used to firing such a large weapon, why, it could dislocate their shoulder.
Exactly. The defendant, Machi Tobai, is, as you can see, tiny. And it's not so hard to picture him firing the gun and missing entirely. The kickback alone would throw off his aim.
A convincing argument, to be sure.
Haha, take that, smug prosecution.
Apollo?
Huh? What? What?
That bit about Machi being tiny? And the gun throwing off his aim? Aren't you kind of, admitting that he did it?
Oh. Hey! It does not matter why he missed. What matters is that the shooter was, without a doubt, the defendant. Even the defense seems to agree on that point. No, I meant that someone else could have misfired because other people aren't used to the gun, not because he was tiny that he had to be the... Cripes, I really put my foot in it this time. But let's get the facts of the matter on the record. If you would, Fraulein Detective.
Very well, the witness will add this to her testimony.
Right. From the scene of the crime scene, I conclude the shooter was blind.
What if Machi's not really blind? I don't know. I'm just guessing now. You can't say he was blind just because of those bullet holes in the wall. I think I've proven that.
I wouldn't call it proof per se.
You merely raised the possibility. Fraulein Detective has made a most logical conjecture based upon the evidence. Of course, there is more evidence than just bullet holes. The defendant was the only one who could have escaped through the air vent. Objection! But wait, if he was blind, how would he know about the air vent in the first place? A very good point. Well, Fraulein Detective, if you would care to explain. He certainly seems sure of himself.
Recall the crime scene if you would. There was a stepladder below the air vent. As it happens, maintenance was scheduled for that day. Custodial staff went around checking all the air vents.
I don't believe it.
Everyone backstage was told about the maintenance, including Machi Tobai. He would have known that there would be a way out the top of that stepladder.
But why is this the first time I'm hearing about this? You could have figured it out for yourself. You only needed to consider what that stepladder was doing there.
Looks like the defense's objection has been squished by a stepladder.
Fail hair forehead? Out of ammunition, perhaps? I've never seen a prosecutor Gavin so aggressive. Maybe he's caught the sin of blood.
Apollo, don't you have something? Anything! You know what we need? We need something to prove the killer could see. That would put him in his place.
Proving the shooter was sighted would do it. That would take down one of their central points. Do I have any evidence that can prove that, though? I've got just the thing! Fine, I accept the prosecution's challenge, he said, not bluffing. Not bluffing at all. As I knew you would, Hair Forehead. What exactly am I up against here? The prosecution is saying the shooter missed because he or she couldn't see. Therefore, Machi, who's blind, did it.
The defense will please present their evidence. Evidence that overturns the prosecution's claim that the shooter couldn't see.
I actually think it's the crime scene photo. Because I really think something was written here, and it had to have been scrubbed out. And you wouldn't know that was happening if you were blind. So if you tried to scrub out some writing, you had to see it get written. Right? Does that make sense? This is that evidence.
The photograph of the crime scene?
I don't care much for the smirk on Prosecutor Gavin's face. But this is no time to think twice. Time to press on. Yes, Your Honor, the crime scene. There is something in here that decisively contradicts the prosecution's point. Then perhaps you'd best show us this something. Get your finger out of the breeze and put it to good use, yeah?
Very well. Show us what you're talking about, Mr. Justice. The contradiction of the scene of the crime is...
The contradiction is right here.
The smeared bloodstains?
I thought it was just my blurry vision. But it really was blurry. The way the victim's hand is raised above his head. Much like a gesture I've seen many times in this court.
It's almost as if he wrote something. Aha! I get it. At least I think I get it.
Get what, Fraulein?
When Mr. Latouche was shot, he tried to write something.
Everybody tries to write something. Man, I'm gonna have to remember, if I ever get shot, to try to write some kind of clue in blood.
And what would he write but the shooter's name? And what would he write it in but his own blood? Pretty good, huh? Right? Yes? Right?
Thanks for making my point for me. Yes, in fact, that's what I think happened here.
There does seem to be a distinct possibility.
The victim wrote the killer's name. It's certainly a logical conclusion. Drat, I just wish it wasn't all rubbed out like that.
Of course it's rubbed out. Why, if I were a killer, I certainly wouldn't want to leave my own name behind. After having rubbed someone out, I'd rub everything else out. I'd get all the witnesses. You'd all die. No one would ever know how many people the judge had truly killed. I've said too much.
Dies if it high. Did you guys realize? Did you figure it out? No, is anything else to say? About, because you'd have to be able to see the thing that was writing for stuff?
About what?
So the prosecution accepts this? You agree this was the victim making an attempt to record the name of the killer? And that the killer tried to rub the name out?
What's your point?
What's my point? I got two of them, bing bing, right here in the front of my head. Let me ask you this. How did the killer know the victim was writing their name?
Well, Mr. Latouche was writing something in blood once the killer saw what it was. Wait.
Tick, 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 tick. Gears.
Once he saw what it was.
But what did you just testify about the shooter?
I said they were blind.
Whack! Yet the crime scene itself contradicts that. The killer had to have been able to see. Why would they rub out the name in blood otherwise?
Oh.
May I remind the court that the defendant, Machi Tobai, is blind. He couldn't have been the shooter.
Impossible!
Order! 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 Prosecutor Gavin, please explain to me what all this means. I was not paying attention in the slightest.
Ha, well.
I mean, looking at this photo, it seems quite clear that the shooter could see. Yet up until now,
it seems I owe the court an apology. The governors are abandoned with law enforcement ties, yet a murder occurred. During our concert, apparently this caused some confusion over jurisdiction. As a result, some reports were not filed in an entirely timely manner. I am not sure I like the vibe I'm getting here. Something I do not like this, no.
Hey, Apollo, look at him. Why is Prosecutor Gavin all relaxed and smiling like that? Like he knows something we don't. And he's about to tell us.
I've got an idea. Let's rock. These documents. But before that, sorry, I get ahead of myself. I have a question for the Fraulein detective, if I may.
What? No.
Tell me, why do you think that Machitubai is blind?
Huh? Whoa, what did he say? Huh? What? What are you saying? Of course he's blind.
Of course.
He's the blind pianist, right? Like that's the whole gimmick. That's right. He's the only one. So he's doesn't Lamiroir lead him around by the hand all the time?
No way. Can he really see? They went to all this trouble to prove that he was blind just to then see if we could prove that he wasn't blind, and then you could then say that he was not blind? What? I have a report here on the defendant, Machitubai. According to this, Machitubai can see perfectly well. He's got 20 vision. That's better than me.
What?
His blindness was merely a publicity ploy by those clever Borginians. He can see quite well. But you said... What did I say exactly? Therefore, had not once in the course of this trial have I claimed the defendant was blind. The only one who did was Fraulein Detective. But a significant fact, just consider, Machitubai sees. And he was the only one who could have fled through the air vent. I see no problems with this.
But what about the bullet holes in the wall?
Yes, the bullet holes. I believe Herr Forehead neatly explained those for us. He didn't miss because he couldn't see. It was the kickback from the 45 caliber revolver. A simple accident, in other words. How's that? I'm afraid your objection has just flown off for brighter skies. This is where the real fun begins, Herr Forehead. I know you didn't have what it took.
You jerk! Just what was I in here for? Comic relief?
Yeah, apologize. It's too late to apologize. Oh, sorry.
There's no way to apologize.
He's angered the Trucy now. Look out. Don't anger the Trucy. You wouldn't like her, Trucy, when she's mad.
If we can please end the bickering.
Whatever. I'm not leaving. I can't leave like this. I'll come up with some clue to solving this case if it kills me.
But your testimony has already given us enough to convict the defendant.
Don't say that. That's not true. What? Throw me a bone, Emma, please.
This bloodstain. The criminal tried to wipe it off, right?
That seems to be what happened, yes.
We might be able to find out what was really written here.
Give me some forensics! Give me some forensics, please! Really? You can do that?
That's right. With this bottle of cleaning fluid.
Oh, it's all gone now, no!
It's called luminol.
Oh, luminol, okay.
Maybe you know of it. It's a chemical that reacts to blood.
It may turn it into an immortal vampire. Ah, yes. Have we done those tests yet?
Ha! As if I'm going to tell you.
The bloodstains covered a section of the carpet. In order to perform blood tests, that section was removed and submitted. Perhaps we should request it here in court now?
Right, go for it, Apollo.
I can do it. I have to do the test.
You just have to spray the luminol on it. Simple.
A chemical that reacts to blood. I've heard of this somewhere.
Yes, I believe an analysis is called for. Have at it. Do some science right here in the courtroom. Why would we take it to a sterile laboratory where it couldn't be contaminated? Just do it right here, right in the middle of everything. Sure, why not?
Bum ba dum bum 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 ba dum ba ba bum.
Right, ready? It's easy as pie. Just touch the screen to spray an area. Here, give it a try.
The eyes of the entire court are focused on me. Apollo, your hand's shaking. Let's do this. Okay. Ha! Ha! Oh, this is hopeless. Okay. That looks like his router code. Wow, it really works. He wrote IPX 314206. It's like he was trying to solve for pi and then didn't quite get it right.
This must be the power of science. My mortal enemy. As a magician, I must destroy it. It says IPX 314206.
Or does it say something else upside down? No, that doesn't help at all.
Is that the killer's name? Was he killed by a robot?
Oh god, it's worse than we thought.
Maybe this is the killer with the robot.
Aha, I have it. So what is it? I thought those letters IPXX looked familiar. This is an Interpol ID number.
Interpol? You mean the International Police Agency?
Yeah, most are undercover agents working to solve international crimes. But why would he write that number? Why would Mr. Latouche even know a number like that? Was he... Good show, Fraulein Detective. Rock on!
Eh?
Your Honor, we can verify this number immediately. We just go to Interpol, we type it into the Interpol computer, and they tell us who it was, right? That's how it works.